Welcome, my friends, to Conspiracy or Conspiracy. Little bait and switch there. We usually do whatever Wednesdays tonight. Today's Wednesday, March 9th, 2022. And today we're doing Conspiracy or Conspiracy, one of my favorite shows. We want to bring you a quality show. That's why we don't do it every day or every week. So what we're going to, usually Conspiracy or Conspiracy, we talk about the Illuminati, the deep state, things that go bump in the night, ancient civilizations, lost civilizations. And joining me is my good friend, Drew Taylor. Welcome, my friend.
That's right. We can't do a conspiracy or conspiracy without Wes and I being together. It's just like how it works. And we had a good one. We actually, Wes and I, behind the scenes, a little inside baseball here. Wes and I talked about this. We kicked around ideas back and forth for months. Because we kind of just file away ideas for different, if we're going to do a conspiracy or conspiracy, something like that, for different subjects to cover. And one of the ones that I was really interested in getting into, and it's a really cool one to kind of ponder, is, what happened in that helicopter crash to the members of SEAL Team 6. And and this happened a few years back. Wes and I are really going to break down the particulars and whatnot here, but this is a good one because you can look at it from both sides, and it's a genuine rabbit hole. So I'm looking forward. I'm amped for this.
Absolutely. Well, it certainly is a rabbit hole, and there's a lot to it. Not just their alleged crash, but what was SEAL Team 6 really after in Afghanistan? That's a big question. That's a rabbit hole in and to itself. Mm-hmm. The Bin Laden death, alleged Bin Laden death, and their deaths are even more strange. So yeah, let's say hello to our good friends in the chat, the best chat on YouTube. So yes, hail Janet, welcome, my friend.
Hail RR, hail Eric K, hail Keck44, hail Godzillionaire. Of course, our buddy Ken Jackman. I got to actually have some fun with Ken Jackman in Twitter Spaces a couple nights ago, man. Ken Jackman is a cool dude, even though he's vowed to be a monk.
Were there any pumpkins?
Yeah. He was passing out pumpkins, of course. Hail to Milton Knowles. I see Milton Knowles here in the chat, and our boy LDG of Geeks and Joy is chilling in the chat, and of course, Small Time Republic is here, and of course, first was Elagabalus. So Elagabalus is awesome. And, of course, Tehillim is here as well. So it's awesome to see him. And the wonderful, the amazing Tina Bojan is here.
Hey, Tina.
And Wookiee Supremacy's in the house. And, of course, she's so awesome. I got to say her name again. Of course, Janet. And Nelson the Gentleman's here. And I see Lindsay, the Cynical Geek, is here, as well as the Woke Breaker. So we've got a lot of folks popping in, which is good, because this is a really interesting topic.
Absolutely. So I guess we can get to the article here, because Michael Savage had some really good work and really good questions to ask in this article.
Yeah, he really did.
Yep. So did you want to read it, or did you want me to read it?
It is your stream, my friend. So I defer.
Okay. All right. I'll take it away. Hold on. Let me post the link in the chat.
George is asking you a question there.
Oh, okay. Well, George, I just intended for me and Drew to do this stream, but we definitely need to stream together at some point. So how about next week?
Yeah. And George is really cool about that.
Yeah,
so he'll probably take you up on that.
So. Absolutely. Yeah, me and George, we've streamed together before. So in fact, next week I want to do the creator stream. So that would be perfect to have you on.
Yeah, George has some great opinions and outlook. I'll give him that, man. George does know his stuff. When you have him on a stream, He will bring some knowledge. George Peter Gatsis is the man for that.
Absolutely, and I definitely want to pick his brain on the creative side as well, since he does, he does Joe King, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I almost forgot it. For some reason, I thought there was another name after that, but
yeah, the good kind of furry, the blue furry hero.
So Michael Savage, SEAL Team 6 was assassinated, executed. Those dudes look badass, don't they? Why are 22 members of Navy SEAL Team 6 dead shortly after their unit killed Osama Bin Laden? Talk show host Michael Savage is relentless in his pursuit to uncover the truth about why all the members of the SEAL team that took out Bin Laden have died. They were killed. They were assassinated. They were executed. Or it was done because there's a moron working inside the Defense Department who did it to them, Savage said. How could we lose more men in one mission than in the entire history of the Navy SEALs? And no one has been held accountable for it, he asked. One father of one of the SEALs told Savage in a radio interview he believed the U.S. government sent his son and his colleagues to their deaths, claiming that on at least 3 separate occasions his son grabbed him by the bicep and announced that he had prepared his will, knowing that he and his SEAL team were going to meet his demise. They knew, the father states. They knew something was up. Every one of them. In the opening hour of his inaugural East Coast Drive Time show, Michael Savage signaled he has no intention of abandoning his passion for uncovering the full story behind the deaths of 22 members of Navy SEAL Team 6 in Afghanistan, shortly after it was leaked that their unit killed Osama bin Laden. The subject came up for a second time in the show when a regular listener said he liked the fact that he covered subjects no one else on talk radio seemed to be talking about. I do like him for that.
Mm-hmm.
They were killed. They were assassinated. Oh, wait, didn't? It's repeating itself. Bad editing. Either way, somebody should go to prison for this, Savage says. Savage called the August 2011 Taliban shootdown of the CH-47D Chinook helicopter that killed all 38 passengers one of the greatest military scandals in American history. I agree with that. What do you think?
Absolutely.
And feel free to chime in on something, Drew, if you want to.
Well, I like this question right here. It's a perfect question. How could we lose more men in one mission than in the entire history of the Navy SEALs? And no one has been held accountable for it, he asked. Yeah, and that's perfect.
Absolutely. And then, the follow-up questions. Savage had further questions. Who put them in an old slow-flying helicopter in a combat zone? Why didn't they break them up into fast-strike helicopters? Who made this decision in the Defense Department? That's a good one. I think that's the million-dollar question right there, right? Mm-hmm. Who made it in the Obama administration? Yeah, I would like to know the answer. There are questions, man, and I want them answered. I want a hearing. And you want to hear equality? You want to hear fairness? How about fairness to the families whose hearts are broken by somebody in the Obama administration who killed those Navy SEALs? Would that be equality? Representative Jason Chaffetz, Republican, Utah, said last month that the House committee, this article is a little old, on oversight and government reform will hold a hearing earlier this year to investigate the disaster. Early this year. Savage noted on his show Thursday that he dedicated his novel, A Time for War, to the SEALs to try to awaken America. Just an aside, folks, that's kind of the reason I'm doing Conspiracy Chronicles, to awaken America, because sometimes you have to go the fiction route to get to the greater truth. Know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In July, as WorldNet Daily reported, the father of one of the SEALs told Savage in a radio interview he believed the U.S. government sent his son and his colleagues to their deaths. After Vice President, Poopy Pants, revealed that SEAL Team 6 carried out the operation that killed Osama Bin Laden in May 2011.
It was Corn Pop.
Yeah, Corn Pop did it. Maybe that's who they're going after, Corn Pop. Maybe that was his senior moment. Strange said the members of his son's team gave startling indications to their families they were about to meet their demise. Charles Strange, the father of slain SEAL Michael Strange, told Savage that in June 2011, on at least 3 separate occasions, his son grabbed him by the bicep and announced that he had prepared his will. The bewildered father was finally able to find out what it all meant. Michael Strange, his father recalled, said, "Something's going on with the team. Something's leaking out. Something's going on." Any thoughts there?
So they figured they had an internal leak within the team.
Mm-hmm.
So that was already, compromising mission security. And you have to wonder, did one of them get pressured to be, to stooge on their fellow team members?
Interesting.
Because the deep state is not beyond, leaning on anybody. They're not.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's just so much here, and there's a record of other, shall we call betrayals of, highly trained professionals like this. I punched up one of them in the private chat, but we'll get there when we get there, because I want to get through this and just get some thoughts. Hail the lovely Sherry. Welcome, my friend.
Hail, Sherry.
Hail. And hail Nelson the Gentleman. Good to see you, my friend. Hail Godzillionaire. Yep. Continuing, other families of the victims have reported similar experiences with their sons the last time they saw them, Strange said. Strange said documents related to the crash that he obtained show that, among other anomalies, the rescue team was held back.
Whoa.
This was all, right? This is all very strange. None of this makes any goddamn sense. This was all planned, he said. I have it in the paperwork. Strange affirmed that there was no chase helicopter or any other kind of support for the team. So you're saying they planned to execute your son and the others on purpose, Savage asked. 100%, sir, Strange replied. I think, where there's smoke, there's fire, for sure. Investigation. Prompted by the concerns expressed by family members, Shavitz said his subcommittee on the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee is investigating the crash. As WorldNet Daily reported in May, Strange recalled to the National Press Club in Washington his expertise with President Obama at Dover Air Force Base in Delaware, August 9th, 2011, when the remains of 30 U.S. troops were brought home from Afghanistan. He leaned over to whisper into Obama's ear to ask if there would be a congressional investigation into the death of his son. President Obama whispered back, "We will look very, 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 very deep into this." Hold on, wait. Something's happening. What's happening? Oh, God. Oh no. No.
You know anything about this?
Get it away from me.
Sorry. Little interruption in our transmission, folks. We do what we can. But Strange said he hadn't heard a word since that encounter. Well, thankfully, he didn't have an encounter with Big Mike. That would have been all bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The families have filed a lawsuit against Obama, Vice President Bribin, the Taliban, the governments of Afghanistan and Iran, because the Islamic regime promises to pay $10,000 for every dead U.S. service member. Among their suspicions, the families questioned the sudden replacement of 7 Afghan commandos on board the helicopter just before takeoff. Yeah, that is pretty goddamn suspicious. I think there are supposed to be safeguards against that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know who you are, man. What are you doing on here? That kind of stuff. Like having a strange person suddenly put on there, that's a big suspicion arouser, big time for security. Interesting. Continuing. The 7 who died in the attack are not the 7 listed in the flight manifest. Yeah. The plot thickens, folks. The families say that to this day, they don't know the identities of the dead Afghans. Strange noted that the chopper's black box was never recovered. Oh, there's another one. Another lost black box.
It doubts the explanation that it was washed away in a flash flood. Really?
Did they find
explanation.
Right? Did they find passports? That's what I want to know.
Damn.
Maybe their passports survived. I've heard that passports are actually quite resilient. I've heard the passports can survive fire, flood, insurance.
Well, I mean, why were those Afghans replaced? So was that a was that a like hit team that just plugged them in the back while they were sitting there?
Well, that would be my guess. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
And then they were dead before they even hit the ground, before it was even shot down. You wonder.
You do, and there certainly is a precedent for this. And actually, a very similar scenario played out. Are you familiar with Chip Tatum?
Yes, I've heard the name.
Okay, yeah. So he used to be a CIA guy, and he talked about he was deep into black ops, and he spilled the beans on all kinds of shit. But his start before he got into the CIA was this thing called Operation Red Rock, and essentially they were supposed to make an incursion into Cambodia, but because our government wanted to have deniability, they swapped out some Cambodians, and the Cambodians that were with them, supposed to be assisting them, were supposed to kill the Americans. And so there certainly is a precedent for this type of operation.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think out of the 14, like 4 of them survived, Chip Tatum being one of them, barely with severe injuries. So, there is precedent for it, and it does happen. And that's exactly how they've done it in the past.
Mm-hmm. Put a nice little switch out, nice little extra support team with the kill team instead.
Yep.
They're just sitting there, and next thing you know, you're just dead because you've been shot execution style right in the back of the dome. I mean, because it was convenient how they got shot down.
It's very convenient. It's a little too convenient. It's conspiracy. And so I mean that brings up the question, since it's suspicious, and it certainly appears that there's enough moving parts to arouse the suspicion of their deaths being foul play. The question is why?
Well, I don't think they wanted people to go public with the real details of the Bin Laden raid.
Yeah, I think you're right, and that is the question, because the whole Bin Laden story itself is really strange. Dumping him in the ocean, killing him when he's supposedly the mastermind behind the 9/11 attacks, which I don't think is the case, but I don't think you think that's the case.
No. This stinks to high heaven to me. Hail Apollo Patriot. Good to see you, brother. Yeah. And I know that Soul Assassin's in the house too.
Hail Soul Assassin. Hail Tommy and the Guinea Pig Collective. Welcome, my friend.
Nelson's here. Ruben's here. What up, Ruben Christopher Haynes? Captain Trek's in the house.
Hail Akale Wolf. Yes, and hail Janet from another planet.
Hail Dwayne Erickson. Dwayne, I hope Rita's doing good. Give her my best.
Hey, Dwayne. Wow, all my favorite people are here. This is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we're getting some questions from the chat here. Ruben says, I'm done with all the lies. Each day I see more of the truth, and I cannot believe everyone is falling for it. Me neither. I'm just like, what? It's like, the erection. You see the graph, or whoop, you see the graph, and then it's like, zzz, I'm like, how? I mean, come on, man. Oh, wait, hold on. I think I've got something for that. Yeah.
Come on, man.
I mean, I'm getting mad. I'm getting upset.
See,
I mean,
Wokebreaker says true patriots that had to be taken out. He thinks they were taken out too. I think so too. I think they were just whacked right on the chopper before they even got shot down. Because think about it, there were what seven Afghans, right? And they're yeah.
Looking for that woke breaker comment. Can't seem to. There we go.
Yeah, that tells me that was a kill team.
Absolutely. So, we've got some theories here about Bin Laden. Janet from Another Planet says because he's not really dead. Well, that's a possibility. Where are you at on that, Drew?
I think he is. I think they just didn't want him. I just don't think that they in any way wanted him to be a martyr or for his body to have a chance at them recovering his body for deification or anything like that. So, it could have been that. But there is a part of me where I do entertain the notion that quite possibly he is still alive because he was a CIA asset one time.
Yes. Yeah. So I think he died. Supposedly he needed dialysis and was in real bad shape, had kidney failure, and I think that he was dead way before the Bin Laden raid. Myself is my theory on that, and in fact, it's interesting because I was talking, when Bin Laden got killed, I worked around these Pakistani folks, and they weren't high in the government or anything. They were just they had family there and a lot of them grew up here, and not a lot of people, nobody. I've loved conspiracies, and they knew where I was at on it. And they don't talk to a lot of people about this kind of stuff because they don't, obviously terrorism in that part of the world is a sensitive topic with many of them. Mm-hmm. But their theory was that it was not Osama bin Laden that we got. That the person that we got was A.Q. Khan, the father of the Pakistani atomic and nuclear program, often referred to as the Johnny Appleseed of nuclear proliferation.
I remember that.
Yes, he's responsible for. He was basically placed under house arrest somewhere, and Pakistan said you can't have him because he's a national hero. If you do something with him, the whole place is going to be set off. You can't do it. Mm-hmm. But we wanted him. And so I think the Bin Laden thing is a cover story that we really nabbed A.Q. Khan. And A.Q. Khan was responsible for Pakistan's nuclear program, Iran's nuclear program. I mean, getting them on the road to getting one. North Korea's nuclear program. And I think we have him, and I think he's alive, probably sitting at a black site somewhere.
And RR brings up, at 11:31, brings up a hell of a comment there. And its follow-up at 11:32. The whole way they disposed of the body never made sense, referring to Osama. It reeked of a cover-up. And, and there is that, because that was very strange that, the way that they did it, and where they did it. Because it was, if I remember right, fairly close to the Mariana Trench, whatever, wasn't it? Somewhere around there.
Somewhere very deep
where they dumped the body, but it was just the whole thing, and look, I can buy the one part of like they didn't want any way possible of recovery of that body because you guys know, and we all kind of know to a degree, and I'm not trying to say any of us are experts on Muslim culture, and especially the radicals. But, had they recovered his body, he would have instantly become a martyr. They, all kind of videos would have came out about it and everything else. You would add you would have
Hey, Tim.
had most of the television stations in the Arab speaking countries that were sympathetic to jihadists uh, carrying footage. So there would have been an uproar, and he would have approached martyrdom super quick. Without the body and for them to have any way of deification. Okay, that took a lot of wind out of the sails of that ever happening. Now, that's a plausible explanation. Okay, but then you look at the other way, and I go back to what RR just said, and yeah, it is a head scratcher either way. And hail, Tim Talk, how you doing, man?
Absolutely. So yeah, with SEAL Team 6, so the motivation, I mean, it seems like there's lots of motivation to take them out. On a sensitive mission like that, I mean, if they were going to take out the Operation Red Rock folks just because we were on the wrong side of a border. Oh, and he said the Air America people got him out, by the way, Chip Tatum. So that, I mean, obviously they're trying to probably keep that under wraps as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, if it really was Osama bin Laden, maybe there's details, sensitive stuff they didn't want leaking out, or if it wasn't Osama bin Laden, then they definitely didn't want any of those dudes talking, because I mean, it happens. I mean, those guys eventually, if they survive all their missions, they retire, they'll keep it under wraps, but eventually they might talk to a friend, talk to a family member.
Now, I know that Wokebreaker mentioned that McRaven was kind of like, this was back in 2011 too, Wokebreaker. So you got to think about it. I mean, it didn't matter if he was anti-Trump at the time, but yeah, he was all about NATO. So it makes you wonder, because what do we know about NATO now? Well, they're mostly, again, hello, it's just like the UN. They're globalists. So.
Yep.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So let's hail Brahma's pool pin. Welcome, my friend.
Hey, what up, bro? What up, Brahma?
Hail Kili Chow. Good to see you here, my friend.
Yeah, Brahma did another. Brahma and Tommy and ETEP and the guys did another kick-ass job last night on United Resistance. And big shout out to our guest last night, the wonderful world-renowned adult film star Allura Jensen, Patriot Allura Jensen. Man, she had info upon info upon info. That woman knew her stuff, and she dropped some good info. She's a good, knowledgeable patriot, man, and we loved her. And I actually, folks, if you watch United Resistance, she's likely to be a regular part of the show here in the future. I've had some continued discussion with her, and we're looking possibly to lean that way. So Allura might be coming on board as a regular panelist. So I'm kind of excited about that. To cross the T's and dot the I's, and we'll see what happens.
Absolutely. Hail Eternal Vigilance. Welcome, my friend.
Hail Eternal.
So we have the chat here saying some interesting things about current events. So let's get into it, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Nelson Gentleman says, I have a feeling these guys might be talking about conspiracy.
Mm-hmm.
It's a conspiracy that we're talking about conspiracies.
Yeah.
Yep. Ruben says, sadly, there's going to be an EMP attack somewhere or a huge cyber attack soon. Your take, Drew?
If they go after the grid, it's possible, but I still think, there's a good chance that there's a biological, and I wouldn't doubt if it's our people behind it, because, by the way, and Ken Jackman, yes, that is absolutely 100% confirmed. You know, folks, listen, you saw a conspiracy. You want to get into conspiracy or conspiracy? All right, let's go with this one. On day one of this supposed war, there was a tweet that a gentleman put out, an entire tweet thread about U.S. biolab facilities in Ukraine. And the interesting thing about this tweet thread that this particular gentleman put out, he showed the first reported attacks, explosions, superimposed them over where these alleged bio facilities were, and they were an exact match. And guess what? Within 30 minutes of that tweet thread being out, his account and that tweet thread were mysteriously nuked from Twitter. Well, not mysteriously, they were nuked. Plain and simple, censored, immediately, gone, scrubbed. And why is that? Well, here's how conspiracy theory becomes today's fact. We fast forward to yesterday, and on my program, Brahma knows, and so does Tommy, that all the folks that were on the panel last night, we shared that clip, that tweet, where the Undersecretary of State, she went and totally validated that the U.S. has biological research facilities in the Ukraine. So it backed up everything that this original Patriot broke about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. And you're seeing it now play out in real time that, yeah, she was worried that the Russians were, quote, after those facilities. Which, if we go by the original intel, those facilities are already pretty much rubble, where the Russians do have control of them. So, yeah, it's just, you know, and here's the thing, folks, another thing to pay attention to. You know, we talk about the uniparty all the time. If you pay attention to the exchange, oh, bless you, buddy.
Oh, thanks. Sorry, I tried to didn't get the mute in time.
So Rubio was supposedly grilling this lady about this very thing, right? Well, notice when she actually started talking about the biolab facilities, when you see Rubio's pivot, makes you scratch your head, doesn't it? He's like, oh, well, it's just there could be a Russian false flag, blah, blah, blah. Nothing to see here. Really? You know, that screams the uniparty. Yeah, Rubio's another one, dirty son of a bitch. I'm telling you, 85% of our government compromised, done. They are globalists. Do not trust.
I think that might be a low number. So we do have a super chat here from Nelson the Gentleman. It says, here you go. Fuck Joe Biden and fuck Klaus Anal Schwab.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Yeah. Appreciate the support, my friend. Thank you.
Yeah, Ken Jackman, yeah, they probably do want those facilities to be destroyed. But they're also taking a chance because Russia gets their hands on documents and everything in there. They can blow this wide open. And look, I still think that a lot of this, quote, war is about Putin getting the dirt on the globalists and taking it public. I really think that. Because you pay attention to the BRICS coalition, which you guys, if you've been paying attention to my Twitter, I've been talking about an awful lot lately. And what is that? The Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. They have all got their own coalition. And why is that? Well, you know why that is. Russia and China, they already know that eventually the globalists want them out of the way, don't they? They don't want to share power. They want them out of the way. Because what is their end goal? You already know their end goal. One world government. That's the end of all nation states. Not one, not two, the end of all. So they want Russia out of the way because Russia is particularly nationalist. China, for all all their atrocities and assholedness, they're pretty nationalist. So from the sense of being about country, they're still commies, but they are to a degree nationalists. They care about their country. So guess what? They don't want that kind of identity, self-identity. You aren't in the one world government, pile. Well, we're going to make you submit to that pile. So these guys, they've got this coalition together, and I guarantee you that this coalition is there to hedge their bets before they get double-crossed by the WEF and all the globalist types, not just WEF, but you guys know what I mean, by the entire cabal. They know that they're going to get screwed over. It's a matter of time. Even if they've had dealings with them in the past, they know they can't trust them. So inevitably, they're going to be at cross purposes. And this is that time. And you know how you got that confirmation? Because Soros has already gone record 7-8 months ago advocating for war against China. But they didn't make a big deal of that because they don't want you to know that. So there you have it.
So says Victoria Nulands is the one who engineered the regime change in Ukraine in 2014. It's also the one who set up the biolabs in Ukraine.
It's dirty as shit, RR. Dirty as shit.
Sort of Vigilance asks if I saw that clip of the parliament chick from Ukraine on Fox News saying they were fighting for the New World Order. I did. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Eternal Vigilance. You've seen the people. Pay attention to the people on Twitter that support the Ukraine. Support the Ukraine. Let's see. We got a list. Soros came out, said support the Ukraine. What? Hillary Clinton. Who else is on the list? You go down, it's a who's who of globalist assholes. So, yeah, I'm not surprised. And then they're fighting for the New World Order. Yeah, I saw that clip. You know what's going on. Folks, if you don't know what Ukraine's about, if you don't know that Ukraine is by rights, that country should be at the top of the international crime list for Interpol.
Yep.
Okay, they're a top hub of human trafficking. They're a top hub of drugs. They're a top hub of money laundering, international money laundering. And then let's not forget a top hub of extremism. You openly have neo-Nazis.
Yeah.
So, hello, people want to make Russia the bad guy here. Well, what the hell about Ukraine? But see, you never see that side or you never hear that argument because, oh, no, you bring that up. Oh, you're a Russian sympathizer. You're Team Putin. How dare you? Putin's an evil guy. Is he? Yeah, he might be. But is he also pretty damn pragmatic? Is he pretty smart? Is he covering his ass? You better believe it. And Zelensky is no angel. What is he? WEF, Young Global Leader. What about that? They never mention that, do they? So.
Yeah, well, we've got to keep exposing. The people are waking up, thank God. Unfortunately, a lot of people are just tuning out, which is, I mean, I can understand why I need to tune out sometimes, so I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Probably
The EU, eternal vigilance, the EU is the globalists. All right, they're getting a win right now by Ukraine neatly signing themselves over to the EU. And then what happens soon after that, they'll join NATO, which NATO is these days, it's no different than, the UN, basically. Same difference. All globalists.
Yeah, this debate is really interesting because people that you would think that would be on our side, if you will, Drew, seem to be towing the line. They're like, well, the reason that Putin attacked wasn't because NATO should have been disbanded, and after the Cold War, the reason they attacked is because NATO was weak because of this president. And it's like, no, NATO should have been disbanded. We should have disbanded NATO. There was no reason to have it, and we went back on our word. We said we weren't going to expand NATO at all, an inch.
And that's because a lot of these people are covering their own asses because they don't want people looking at the fact that they have interests in a lot of these, little European countries that are in NATO. So they're like, yeah, of course they're going to be pro NATO. It's all a damn shell game, and that's why we go back to uniparty on this one, because it is. It is. Two wings on the same friggin' bird.
I'm afraid you're right.
And then when you look at the war again, what is it? It's, if you look at it from a wrestling standpoint, folks, think of it this way. This is a heel versus heel match. Okay, there is no baby face. There is no good guy. This is a heel versus heel match. And what is it at its core? Well, it's set up, and basically it's a screw job. So there you go.
Pretty much. So Eternal Vigilance asks, I'm still not sure about Putin. It could be either. He's just playing the whole game as a part of Klaus Schwab's pawn, or he genuinely is trying to fight for Russia from the NWO. What is your take on that?
I'm not sure about it, but I will say this, Eternal Vigilance. Putin is very still he does love Russia. He does love Russia, and that's why I really honestly feel he doesn't want that globalist bullshit in his country. He doesn't want it anywhere near that. I mean, he doesn't want to lose the identity of Russia. I mean, he still wants Russia to be Russia. Yep. I mean, and for people saying that he's crazy, he may very well be crazy or something like that. But guess what? If he's anything, he's probably, I would describe Putin as, more of a nationalist. And a lot of people say, well, he's, moving like a dictator. And I say he's moving more like a czarist than, on the hardcore dictator end, so, if anything, he's going old school. He's going back to the old school, like the Tsar days. He almost looks like that, as far as his attitude and the way that he is. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think he wants this New World Order bullshit anywhere near Russia at all. And frankly, the aftermath of all this empty virtue signaling and pulling all this Western culture all of a sudden out of Russia, I envy those people right now because they're probably better off.
They probably are. Probably
there's
much better off.
There's no Facebook. There's no Twitter. No shitty McDonald's. No shitty Pizza Hut. I mean, it's. I mean, yeah, these people are. People are probably better off.
Absolutely. Yeah. So to answer your question, eternal vigilance, I think that he's the real deal. I think he loves Russia. And I think, he recognizes as a practitioner of realpolitik that, it is what it is. See, our government and the powers that be are trying to keep the stuff from us, and the story is that, so I allegedly that our enemies will find out. Our enemies know all this stuff. They know more than we do. Our enemies,
Yeah.
whatever. Russian, Putin knows all of this stuff. He knows more than we do, the American public do, and the public in general, and all the NATO countries. He knows more
I
than we
want
do,
to.
and
I
I
want
think
to
he's just.
address.
Let me,
Yeah.
oh,
No, go
okay,
ahead.
let me finish here. Um, so yeah, I think that Putin, he recognizes the reality of NATO and the WEF and that cabal. He knows, and so he will try to deal with them because it's a fact of life. But no, I don't think he's a pawn at all. I think he's just trying to advance the interests of his nation.
All right, eternal vigilance. Another piece of the puzzle here. All right. If you go on the World Economic Forum website, they have been recently deleting anything related to transhumanism. So that's interesting. That's just a random fact. Now, the fact
Wait,
I
which comment
wanted
are you looking at?
1153. The reason I asked, I heard that Klaus was saying that Putin attended his school. All right, yeah. Putin has had dealings with the WEF before. He was actually at one point, well regarded, and then he started to speak against them. He actually went to an event where a number of them were in attendance, and essentially stuck his middle finger up and said, "Yeah, no, Russia's not going to do that." So he said it in a polite way, but I think they kind of knew. And the other thing, besides scrubbing anything rabbit holes you could really go down with stuff off their website, to find stuff on transhumanism, same way, it's very hard now to look up who's involved with the WEF, and that's by design too. They've been scrubbing their site. So one of the things, though, is they scrubbed Putin off their site, period. So he's not listed on there at all. Why did they kick him out? Well, you have to wonder. And that's why I say, it's like the mafia too, in a way, because
Oh yeah.
you're trying, you're playing both sides. So really and truly, you're just trying to get out, but at the same time, you're looking to hedge your bets and bring the organization down. So then, in the end, you could do either way. You could take over, or they're just done and they're never going to bother you again. So you got options open. So maybe he is playing 4D chess. I wonder if we could go on the Wayback Machine and dig up the WEF archives. We'll see. Isaj Maladi says, at Supreme Heretic, I guess we aren't getting Russell Wilson like the prognosticator said. Yeah. He went to the Broncos, actually. I saw that he got traded to Denver. Seattle actually got a good haul for him, by the way. So they're gonna have a pretty fairly quick rebuild, I think. But no, getting back to the subject at hand, yeah, it's quite interesting to see, that they don't have Putin listed on the site, things like that. And RR is right with his comment at 11:57. Putin isn't insane; he's crazy like a fox. Russia had Ukraine in 7 hours. The fact that he didn't just level the place does show he wants an agreement, but if the West won't negotiate, he will level it. Yeah, and that'll be after. I still think are that they're looking for evidence. I really do. Because why would they prolong this so long? I got a feeling that they're investigating. They're looking for something. They're looking for evidence.
They're very surgical, the way they were operating.
Mm-hmm. So they're looking for dirt on something. Because think about what's potentially there, folks. The CrowdStrike servers were where? In Ukraine. And that was what, 2020 election, right? I mean, you can find a treasure trove of shit there. So, hypothetically, with just all the stuff that's in Ukraine, between sensitive documents, servers, the whole 9 yards, if they get an intel haul like that, all right, it really could change the entire global paradigm, because if you bring down the globalist cabal, it changes the fucking world in an instant.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, we're reaching a precipice here where it's going to go one way or it's going to go the other. And I mean, I hope it falls the way of liberty and individualism, and not the way of collectivism and totalitarianism. So RR also had a good comment up here. Putin is a bad hombre, but he's no worse than our leaders. And I think he's not nearly as bad as our leaders. And he had no interest in invading Ukraine. He's been telling the West since 2008, stop encroaching on my borders. His hand was forced. I agree. Yep. I mean, the thing here is that, if we cut off a lot of the communication, they don't have the early warning systems that we have. They don't, I mean, I think when we were stupid enough to say that we threatened the first strike, which is absolutely stupid, because I mean, that's if you back somebody into a corner and they think that they could be, the recipient of a first strike, I mean, what's the guy going to do? It's almost, I mean, it's very dangerous what they're doing. This is totally unnecessary. And if this spirals into a cataclysmic world war, this will have been the stupidest. I mean, World War I was pretty stupid, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. But this will be even dumber than that.
Well, you got to think about all those old conflicts. You have to go back and really call into question every single war that we've been in now. Because, you got to wonder, was it all just orchestrated? Was all of it orchestrated? And you have to really ask yourself at that point.
Hail that 70s rock fan.
Because maybe the beginning of our downfall was the League of fucking Nations.
Well, I would argue it's the Federal Reserve, and we had
that too, yeah.
the Warburg brothers, one here and one in Germany, so running their central bank. So that tells you pretty much all you need to know, doesn't it?
Yep. All right, hold that thought. I'm going to hit the head.
All righty. So let's see here. Ruben says, yes, it has all been orchestrated. Yeah. Yeah, so, it's their playbook. There's a playbook. They've gotten away with it a lot. And one of the reasons they're not really big into the internet here is because of, the ability for people to call out their BS. For the word to get out what their game is. Once people know the game, people aren't going to play the game. The world is run by psychopathic con men, I'm sorry to say. Pop Culture Republic says, one interesting thing that was floating around was news of a gold-backed currency for Russia. Any news on that? I hadn't really looked into that too much. I know that Gaddafi was doing that. That doesn't go over so well. Yeah, the reserve currency status of the dollar. Oh man, if we lose that, we're in for some hard times. I mean, already the inflation it's noticeable. It's really noticeable, and it's noticeable no matter where you go. It's noticeable at the grocery store. I mean, I paid $200 for groceries the last time I went. I don't think I've ever paid $200 for groceries. I usually get out of there $145. $200, man, that's a lot. And then if I paid $85 to fill up my car, and or pay, fill up the truck, and it used to cost $55. So this is, for I feel bad for low income people that kind of hit like that. It's really difficult for them. Excuse me, goddamn. And already you're starting to see the effects. You're starting to see, the gas beggar phenomenon, people hanging out at the gas station, asking for people to fill up their tank. You're already starting to see people siphon gas out of people's gas tanks. It's and it's going to get worse, unfortunately. Let's see here. Ruben says the plan began in 1913. I think it was implemented in 1913. Honestly, the plan goes back further than that, Ruben. We're talking about it on, Yelling at Parked Cars, the Fabian Society, the Fabian Socialists. Yeah, those guys are the worst kind of scum. Dwayne says it's all planned out. A lot of it is. Yeah, we need to people need to wake the fuck up and need to get involved, and just like need to treat these globalists when they're running for office. I mean, the way you would treat some nut job in the park standing on a box yelling about aliens, that's what you got to do. I mean, because it's that insane. Doesn't serve people's interests. It's ridiculous. Ruben says the Titanic did not sink itself, all part of the plan. Look who died on board. Well, even the Lusitania is suspicious as well. Some parallels between those two ships. Pop Culture Republic says, I think we're close to losing reserve status. Well, I mean, I think we are too. I think it's been happening for a while. Your thoughts on that, Drew? Losing reserve status, dollar?
Oh, absolutely. It's being tanked intentionally. All the stuff like the executive order that got passed today about crypto. It's all about, closing the walls in. They don't want you to have autonomy. They don't want you to have financial autonomy. Okay, so they don't want you to have freedom of movement about, which is why they're pushing all this, renewable energy, green energy garbage, because it's a bunch of crap. It's a bunch of junk science. It always has been. All right, that is 100% entirely junk science. Anybody with an elementary understanding in school knows that our planet works in cycles. That's all it is. It is not some catastrophe. It is not something where, oh my God, we're going to end up dying out like the dinosaurs. All right. The planet works in cycles. That's all there is to it. Absolutely. So it's none of that junk science that, by the way, the scientists over the years were paid to say these things, paid to come up with entire formulas for this shit. But it's
Drew,
it's all trash.
You mean like 95% of the scientists that they paid to come up with exactly what they wanted that fit their narrative?
Yes.
We're like not telling the truth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's exactly why they're putting the screws to you now. They're closing the walls in. Okay, so anybody knows at the moment that the minute Biden got into office and he killed off Keystone XL, it just crippled us, took our energy independence away in a heartbeat, just like that. All right, so we are sitting on, and Brahma, shout out to Brahma. Last night he explained it so well that we could be pumping out 800,000 barrels a day if we had Keystone. 800,000 barrels a day. That puts us in the position that we're a leading exporter not importer. We're a leading exporter at that point. So that in itself tells you, all right, and how do people get around right now? Most of it is fossil fuels. We need fossil fuels. You want to go with cleaner energy. I'll go back to the episode of, back then Rogue Resistance that we did with J.R. Majeski, the very first episode. And he was talking about nuclear. Nuclear's freaking great. But, if you notice, there's been a push to get off of nuclear too. And why is that? Even though it's proven that it works, they don't want anybody to be around coal. I mean, it's ridiculous. This is proven shit that, time honored, that we've lived on for generations. But they don't all of a sudden, all of a sudden they say, no. We gotta have green energy. We gotta have, clean emissions. We're killing the atmosphere. Well, fuck, you were killing the ozone in the 80s, supposedly. So what the hell's the difference now? If anything, God, there were scientists that said the ozone is repairing itself.
Well, and here's the thing about the ozone thing. When they did away with R12 and went to R134A and the CFCs and all that stuff, turns out the DuPont patents on those items just happened to be running out around that time. Isn't that interesting?
Mm-hmm. And the shit that, and they've sat there and tried to keep that shit up. Part of the reason they try to keep up the narrative, and you credit John B. Wells with this one, because he's been on top of the chemtrail shit for years. The shit that they're spraying in the air. That's part of the reason why. All for the sake of keeping up appearances, keeping up that narrative. Because this is all, all that shit's a lie, folks. You all of you in here, all you men and women in here right now, you're smart. You can see right the hell through it. Same as we can. In Pop Culture Republic, he mentions Nikola Tesla right there. Yeah. You don't hear about his stuff because guess what? The minute he got onto something, what happened to him? Well, he's dead and they took his shit, didn't they? And they just locked it the hell away. Yep. Because you know what? It screws up the plan. They will never let humanity have the use of that because it gives people autonomy and it gives them freedom. And they don't make money.
Yeah, he never even had supposedly he never even had a chance to fire up Wardenclyffe. But that JP Morgan, man, he was a bad dude. I mean, if you look at the the robber barons of that age, Andrew Carnegie was probably one of the better ones. But he ended up owning that JP Morgan. So I mean, he's just a bad dude.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You guys are spot on. So we understand the origins of all this shit, and yeah, Asaj Maladi, if you pay attention, okay, they could do that shit with DARPA. DARPA's got the ability to do that shit. Yeah. Don't think for a second that they can't fuck with the weather.
Oh, of course they can. I mean, it's well documented.
Mm-hmm.
So RR says, oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to read RR's comment real quick here. RR says, it's not science, it's a bastardization of science. It's a cult of irrational fear and feelings to make the lemmings beg for their chains. We're in the beginning stages of World War III. Stock up on supplies. Your thoughts, my friend?
Yeah. And then RR at 12 a.m. We're actually going into global cooling. Global warming is a bigger hoax than Pig Mike's attempt to hide his quarter roll. Yeah. And you're exactly right about that. I actually heard there was an expert that I heard actually here on local radio, and this was probably middle of last year, before one of our big local conservative radio hosts passed away, Mike Trevisano here in Cleveland. He actually had a guy on the program that said exactly that. He said, what you're hearing about global warming is a bunch of bug. This is what's really happening. And he explained the global cooling. And again, he said the same thing I said. All right. The thing is the planet goes in natural cycles, is all it is. And we're in a cooling trend.
Yeah.
We're in a cooling cycle. That's it.
Absolutely. So yeah, yeah, I agree with RR's comment here, and I definitely think that you should stock up on supplies, given what's happening with inflation. At the very least, stock up while you can, because it's going to go up.
Well,
it's already hard to get stuff.
Well, we're going to have to, because we're at that point where a lot of people are in shock. If you haven't been awake for a while, if you're just starting to wake up, if you're, it's like that, like the old John McClane meme, welcome to the party, pal. All the new people that are just waking up are overwhelmed. This is a shock to the system because guess what? It absolutely tears down the walls of the reality you think you were living in.
Oh, yeah. I remember the first time I got red pilled and started diving down the rabbit hole, man. I couldn't get out of bed for a week, at least.
I mean, seriously. So the thing is when you come to grips with that, you need to understand how to live. And one of the things that we're going to have to do inevitably is, and this is a worldwide thing, it's going to take the citizens of every country to stand up, get some national pride, and say, you're not taking our country. And the only way to do that is to arm yourself with what? Information. Because obviously violence is the last resort, and they're going to get what they want, which is killing scores of citizens in the fight for humanity, which is exactly what they want because they want to reduce that population by any means necessary.
Yep,
so,
absolutely.
But when that day comes and that inevitable fight comes, you don't want to go into it not knowing what's going on. And I think that you folks are awake. I think that you're smart enough to see exactly what's going on.
I think so too. I think we got some great folks here. It's just we got to get the word out. I mean, people are waking up, but a lot of people are waking up and then tuning out, completely out.
Mm-hmm. And there's some people that are going to do that because it's like you said, Wes. I mean, it's a shock to the damn system. I mean, how the hell do you deal with that? I mean, it takes a hell of a strong person to sit there and say, okay, I've been living in a fucking lie for, however many decades. Holy Jesus.
You've been living on Fantasy Island, man. That's where you've been living.
Yeah.
And reality is going to intrude. I mean, the knowledge of what they're planning, but what's it actually? I mean, you've already seen that. See, that's what's waking people up is the actual execution. The scamdemic was a big wake up call. And, I think regardless of, people that may have supported former Vice President bribing, once he got into office and they're seeing what's going on, that's waking people up. It's like, oh, these people just don't believe anything they're saying. This is just, they're bullshitting us to keep us off their back. That's what's going on here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ruben has a really good comment here. Truth is that oil is not a fossil fuel. That is correct. Rockefeller coined that to drive the price up. Fossil fuel is the wrong term. All of it is natural. It's a mineral. 19% of a barrel of oil gives you gas. The other 81% gives so many other necessities. Yep. Yeah, petroleum is a mineral, and supposedly it may actually be a renewable source. The Earth may be renewing it. I mean, they're finding wells they thought were dry that are filling up with oil. Yep. So Nelson the Gentleman also had some good comments here.
So I'm just looking at my notifications, my timeline here on Twitter. Bloomberg Business 1 hour ago. House passes $1.5 trillion spending measure with Ukraine aid. And our good buddy J.R. Majeski is he's quote tweeting that. He says, another urgent spending measure. Have they ever heard the saying, your procrastination is not my emergency? Well, we the people are tired of unhinged false emergencies. And he includes an excerpt from it. Says the legislation would provide $730 billion for non-defense discretionary spending, a 6.7% increase. I'm telling you, these fuckers are just dirtier than dirty, and the swamp continues. It's just ridiculous. And they're working overtime.
Yeah, well, I mean, eventually these people need to be brought to justice. And, that's, God, they're so brazen about it too. Fucking assholes.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it's like they're not even really trying to hide it anymore.
No, they're not. They are not.
I mean, they used to at least make a token effort to do it, but now it's just like, yeah, fuck it. You're slaves. We're the elite. Fucking assholes. Sorry, I'm getting mad.
Well, we should all be getting mad because it's time to just stand up and expose them. Just expose them. Keep working to expose them. And hey, listen, I hope that I'm right about Russia and Putin, and I hope that they expose the shit out of this too.
Yep. Well, it'll all come out in the wash, as they say. This is an interesting comment. Yeah. Nelson the Gentleman says, yeah, the Great Pyramid probably used a wireless energy system similar to what Tesla was creating. And I think the single stone obelisks were receptors of that energy. That's an interesting theory. Might explain a lot. It might explain the missing capstones. Might explain the way that they're laid out with the tunnels and all that stuff. Yeah, it's a very interesting theory. I mean, we may never. I mean, I think a lot of the stuff that burned at the Library of Alexandria probably would have, told us some of that stuff. Real shame that happened. Yes, we are awake now. That's right, Canadian Spider-Man. And hail to you, my friend. I hope things are going well.
It's funny. I heard, and I hope that somebody actually posted up on YouTube later. I guess Tucker Carlson had a great show tonight. Apparently, he was talking about the biolabs, and he was just putting the truth out there. And I guess Hannity swooped in and tried to basically discredit Carlson. Damn. Yeah. But I think Hannity is team globalist. I really do. And again, in Project Veritas, and I just retweeted this, folks, because our wonderful, wonderful friend Laura Logan has recently come back to Twitter as of a day or so ago. And I retweeted what she tweeted earlier. And this is 3 hours ago. She was just tweeting out, Project Veritas will be releasing part 1 of a devastating series within the New York Times. And, I'm glad that she retweeted that. And I'll tell you what, that makes me very happy to be an independent journalist, because this just is further proof, especially, and I watched the previews of that upcoming Project Veritas series, man, and there's some bombshells in there. It proves exactly what the corporate fucking media is about. They are just an extension of the state. And that goes for every country. They are an extension of the state. So all it is a big sham. And I am very thankful that I think for myself and I am independent. I am so glad for that.
Absolutely. We love Laura. We're grateful that there are amazing people like her out there, amazing truth tellers. Very nice person too, which is really nice. It's really refreshing to have somebody that's real like that,
Yep. Eternal vigilance. You're spot on. I heard that.
Which one? You got to tell me, Drew.
12:23 a.m. Eternal vigilance.
Oh, okay. Well, it says 9:23 here. But that's okay. That's okay. Yeah, Hannity is a globalist. He has a lot of stock in the V-chip industry.
Yeah, that's a chip, the under the skin chip that they're talking about.
Yep, they've Geraldo'd him. That's what they did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, remember Geraldo used to be a truth teller at one time. Used to be a kind of alt media in a way. And they got to him.
Tiki of Doom at 9:24 your time says, "I want leadership that puts America first." Yeah, we all do, Tiki, and that's the thing. All right, these people that are running, especially in the midterms, pay close attention. I want you folks to pay close attention, because whether you skew liberal, whether you skew conservative, just vet these people and make sure that they are candidates that are go-getters, that actually want to represent the average person. Okay, make sure of that. Let's not.
We gotta have. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, let's not put more frogs into the swamp. Let's put people that actually care about the country, go by the Constitution, into our government, because that's what we need.
No more Mitch McConnell.
No more Mitch McConnell.
No more Mitch McConnell. We need more Marjorie Taylor Greens. That's what we need. We need more. Yeah, and we need more Thomas Massey's. Thomas Massey is great. We need more of the folks of that ilk.
Yeah. Hail, Canadian Spider-Man, buddy. Good to see you. The thing is, I really want America First people to win, and it's not just the association with President Trump, because, President Trump sometimes backs like shitty people as well, because there's plenty of them that haven't worked out. But I want actually true America First people in there. So just vet your candidates in your states. If you feel good about a certain candidate, if you can go that extra mile, go and support their campaign. Go and actually work on their campaign. Volunteer. Let's start getting these people in and doing what we can do to get these people in.
Absolutely. Alrighty. Well, we've gone for about 90 minutes. I think that we've had a really good show. I'm pretty happy with it. And I think I don't know, anything else you want to talk about, Drew?
No, I think we're good. Listen, guys, I'm not sure tomorrow about Pegasus Actual. I will let you guys know. I'm first and foremost in the corner of our guy Brightest Day. Obviously, YouTube has been giving him some shit. He had some asshole come after his channel, and his booked with Brightest Day stuff got completely, taken down. So he's right now, I think, pretty bummed out. So I'm not sure if Pegasus Actual is happening tomorrow. If it does, and he decides to come on, he and I'll figure it out. I'm gonna talk to him tomorrow. But if it doesn't happen, you can see me on Comics Division's channel for Thursday Night Throwdown, and then of course I might see about this weekend. Doing my 1,000 sub celebration. I'll let you guys know when that is going to happen, definitely. And then, we'll see you back Tuesday for United Resistance. So you got that to look forward to. I do need help with my watch hours. So if you can, open up a playlist, just fire up some videos, interact with my stuff, because I do need the help. I want to get to monetization because I got everything else I need. I'm doing great on subs. I'm almost I'm up past the 1,450 mark, so I'm closing in on 1,500 subs soon.
So you do skip the 1,000 sub celebration, have the 1,500 sub celebration.
yeah, no kidding. So yeah, it's coming along, but I do need your help, folks. So if you can help me get those watch hours, I would certainly appreciate that. And also, look for me on Twitter. Any of you guys that follow me on Twitter, I jump in Twitter Spaces, and I also do Twitter Spaces from time to time. So keep an eye out for those. When you see that little purple around my name, it either means I'm in a space or I'm hosting a space. So, you can check me out in there too, because I talk about the stuff that you love that I talk about on here. So there you go. So that's my spiel for the evening.
Maybe I'll have to try the Facebook version of that, the rooms, or what do they call them? Is that what they call it? Rooms? I don't know. I did that and it was weird. But I'll try it. I'm getting old, so it's like, that's new. Like I still want to carry around my Palm Treo. I loved my Palm Treo. I like buttons. Can I have buttons? Buttons are good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, guys, go check out Drew and make sure you fire up some playlists. Let's get Drew monetized, man. He deserves it. There's no harder working man on YouTube than Drew, and he's my friend. He's my brother, and I want to make sure that we get this man monetized so we can start really catapulting off. And that's one of the great things about the fellowship is that we rise together. We are all in it for the same mission, and we've got each other's backs. And you, my friends out there, are family as well. We love you. You are the best chat on YouTube.
Yeah, and I just want to say before we take off, guys, also those of you that are believers, please keep Mama Heretic in your prayers. I did, I think I mentioned this last night, but I did take her to the orthopedic clinic. She had to get a cast. Unfortunately, she broke her hand in a couple places because she took a fall the other night. Things haven't been good, guys. They really haven't. If I'm being honest, between showing stroke-like symptoms and what's happened with her hand, the fact that she can't really walk around well, it is upsetting. And I am, honestly a little frazzled at the moment. I'm a little scared about that. But, I have you guys. You guys are wonderful friends. And thank you for your continued prayers, support. And, I do honestly from the bottom of my heart, I love you guys. So, thank you so much for being there for me. You really are genuine brothers and sisters. You're genuine friends. So thank you.
Absolutely. And we will send our thoughts and prayers to Mama Heretic. We know that she's one tough lady, and we're going to give her the additional strength and support that she needs. And so our thoughts or prayers are with her. So
Thank
with
you,
that,
guys.
folks, absolutely. Go ahead and close things out. If you're new to the channel, I would be honored if you would subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video, and don't forget to ring the bell for like an 11 to 12%. No, we're up to 33% chance of notifications. And what's the other thing? Is there something else? I forget. I don't know. I need a script for that. Yeah.
I must be wet.
My butt's been wiped, so that's good. Yeah, it's very important.
Yeah,
Have a
mine
clean
too.
butt. Yeah, you don't want to get mud butt, not when you're on stream. See ya. Oh, wrong one. Hold on. Yeah, here we go.
Or was it the right one? Subliminal messaging.